guys. Welcome into the Daily Deep Cut brought to you by the Beat Sessions. I am your host, Mitchell Weary. Hope you're having a fantastic morning. Sorry for coming at you again a little later than usual. This morning was just my bad. I'm usually a morning person, but this last week trying to get into this, I don't know what it is. It's taken me a lot to get out of bed, unfortunately, and and ironically enough, I don't think today's song helped. We are talking about Electioneering off of Radiohead's '97 classic, OK Computer, which most of you are probably familiar with the record, and you know that it's an album that is it's rather bleak. It focuses on a dystopian world that is just fraught with consumerism, capitalism. There's the ideas of social alienation, the influence of technology. It is basically an album about the future and how bleak that kind of looks. And it's fascinating now, almost 28 years on, that it feels like a lot of what they were talking about in that album has unfortunately come true. Another example of prescience in art. But thrilled to talk about this track in the context of this record and in the context of its creation, because it is an awesome song. It's definitely the heaviest, hardest rocking track on the record, and we'll get into that aspect of it as well. But before we do that, please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel. Don't be shy about hit me with some super chats during this thing. I'd love to interact with all of you, answer any questions, or even, if you pose a good discussion point, I would love to throw that into the mix while we're talking about things this morning. Also, this show, while we're getting it started, I'm going to leave it open to the public for a couple of weeks. But after the new year, this will be a members-only show. It's 99 cents a month for a membership. I think I'm keeping that pretty reasonable for you all. So please show some love, show some support if you want to keep checking out this show. And if you really want to help me make this channel a lot better in 2025, that even just that tiny bit of financial support really does go a long way. And I appreciate all of you that are willing to contribute to that. And so let's get into it. The 97 classic OK Computer features Electioneering. It is just a hard rocking, in your face track, almost kind of like proto punk a little bit. And my favorite thing to hear, just like, oh, it sounds like they were doing their thing with Pablo Honey with this song. It's like, no, this song has very, very little to do with Pablo Honey. I would argue that Radiohead is an outfit that has always had the ability to rock out. They have that in their constitution. They know how to do it. But like many artists that are looking to branch out and to develop their style and to experiment, I would say that there are certain limitations that go along with just simply rocking out. And so watching this band not just with this song, but everything that they did with their record, their expansive sound, the way that it captured the anxiety, the concern at that point in the zeitgeist. I mean, this really is an album, and this song in particular too, identifies a time and a place and the feelings and the thoughts and the concerns about that time and place and where it would lead. Very few albums, period, I feel, have the impact that this record overall does. And while Electioneering certainly doesn't come down as like the most visible song on the record, it is a massive part of that package, of that delivery. This album also comes at a fascinating time too. I love teaming up with Nigel Godrich again, coming off the Bends, which the Bends is a phenomenal record, but I feel that particular album has, and not that they set out to do this, because obviously when it comes to the commercialization of things, the corporatization of things, Radiohead certainly is very much an anti-capitalist outfit. And I think that their actions support that. I believe it was In Rainbows that they offered for free download. It's like, hey, like, contribute what you think is fair for this piece of art. Here it is, take it. And I just thought that that was one of the coolest things ever when they did that, putting their money where their mouth is, so to speak. But this is this album falls at a very interesting time. The Benz '95, I believe. You really have the height of the Brit pop movement, and I feel that there was a lot about the Benz that captured that spirit, even though Radiohead was very obviously trying to veer away from that direction. And a couple years later, just a short time later, you pretty much have the death of Britpop, so to speak. You have a number of bands that I would say are solid. I enjoy listening to bands like Travis. I really enjoy early Coldplay records. But there's no denying that these are bands that were making music in kind of a safe space. There was, I would just argue that those songs are meant to be easy to listen to. They're meant to be easy to digest and ready for the radio. And again, that's not to say that they're bad. They're just different. And I think that a big part of what drove Radiohead is, no one really taking the baton. You have the death of grunge and a lot of those bands sort of falling off in popularity, even breaking up. I think Soundgarden had broken up by this point, if not by now, then I mean soon. I believe they broke up in like 97 or 98. And again, there was no one there to basically be the king of rock and roll, so to speak. And so I love that Radiohead goes out of their way and they almost try too hard with this record. It's almost too much to digest. If it wasn't so damn brilliant and so good, a testament to their skill set as songwriters and the way that they were growing as artists at that time. It's not an easy thing to do, to make a record like this, to make a record that really at its core focuses on a lot of doom and gloom, but ultimately still possesses this feeling of hope, this sincere longing for the people in the world and the world in general to be better, to keep our eyes open, to be aware of everything that's coming at us, especially the technology aspect of things. I think being here in 2024 now and seeing where AI has taken over in certain realms, where technology has influenced our daily lives, I feel like I'm on this damn thing way more than I ever want to be. And I just, I guess I shouldn't say I never did, but it's just, you go back 10 years even, and this device didn't have the dominance over professional life, over personal life that it does now. I think one of the most disappointing things that, I see in my line of work anyway, is a family out to eat and the kids' faces are just buried in devices. Like, there's no communication, there's no interaction at the table. It's classically the time and place for that. And unfortunately, you just don't see that a lot. And so I admire any band that's willing to call their audience out, to check people, and again, showing that the promotion of this record, the album sales, all of this stuff, it's not important. What's important is making this piece of art and making a statement about where humanity is at. It's also, talking about time and place, talking about the Blair Labor Party taking over, the anxiety about the huge corporations that have come into play in the last 20 years, as this album does predict. It's inspired by the poll tax riots back there in the mid to late 90s. It's an interesting scenario to read about. I definitely would recommend going down a little bit of a rabbit hole and checking that out. But what I love about that this particular incident is that you do have the British population coming together, putting their foot down, demonstrating that they're not going to tolerate this tax, which ostensibly it was, it basically was screwing over the middle to lower classes. And you have, I wanted to get into, oh my gosh, I lost this tab here real quick, but I got to find this here real quick, guys. I wanted to talk about manufacturing consent, the political economy of the mass media. Hold on real quick. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I had some notes here. Wanted to pull that up. Um, but you have a great piece from Noam Chomsky and from Edward S. Herman. And basically, what they are arguing is that mass media, and we see it so much today, is this vessel for propaganda, for government propaganda, and it's a terrible place where we're at with the media. I would say, knowing that most of the people that I know personally, whether on the left or on the right, have concerns about the information that is being disseminated to them, and having to look at multiple news outlets, having to cross-reference and constantly check things versus having just a reliable news outlet that you can go to, that you can trust. And also the influence of AI. I mean, it's crazy to think that it's so easy to doctor up an image now that you just don't know if it's real or not anymore. I mean, that's really the sad reality of where we're at with this technology. While it ultimately was designed to help and improve, it really serves as a detriment in a lot of ways. And so Electioneering is definitely the most, I would say, politically driven song on the record, just outright. Pulling up the lyrics here, it comes out scorching with that signature rock and roll riff, just hard electric riff. You're getting that cowbell element that is very very recognizable and one of a kind. People are probably going to throw out Blue Oyster Cult there for a bit, and I totally get that, and I think that it's funny. It's a good little nod there. But Tom writes, I will stop at nothing, say the right things when electioneering. I like that idea of not campaigning, but the idea of actually engineering an election, of actually manipulating the masses and getting people to buy into your vision. It's the whole idea of politics is unnerving to me. It's what I wanted to do when I was younger, and then I realized I didn't want to write lies for liars for a living. I trust I can rely on your vote is the way that opening, those opening lines finish. And then it goes on to say, when I go forwards, you go backwards, somewhere we will meet. When I go forwards, you go backwards. And it's like this frenzied, just intense, anxious, loud, in your face sequence in the song. And I've loved the delivery of those lines, like ever since I heard this song for the first time. The intensity that's there, and just that statement where I feel that's that's pretty much the case for most of us. Is we have these politicians, whether in America, whether in Britain, and I know especially in American politics, where once you're in, and every step forward that these people are taking in their careers usually involves accepting some type of money from some type of entity and voting in their interest. And it's sad. It's a sad state of affairs. I've brought up the article a number of times on the channel, but it's something that I never get tired of talking about, because I think Barbara Tuchman is, talk about being prescient, talking about being able to see the potential of certain things and the demise that they may cause. But she talks about the American political system, and she talks about Thomas B. Reed and how he's the last great American politician, sacrificing his party loyalty for what was ultimately for the good of the country. And she frames that essay by talking about British politics versus American politics. And in America, as this country was developed, there was this tabula rasa. I mean, obviously, the Native Americans were here before. It's not necessarily a clean slate. We certainly came in and decimated a population of people and destroyed a lot. But as this country developed, as infrastructure began to develop, the idea of the landed gentry, so to speak, these are individuals that wanted nothing to do with the governing process. They were business people. They were making their money, doing their thing, and having that money and having that power and control, were basically able to appoint people by elections, get certain individuals into political positions where they had all the advantage in the world. And our system has continued to struggle with this for like 230 years now, 250 years almost. It's pretty wild. But I love I love Tom's energy in calling that out. And I think that while it's a system that I don't think is going to implode anytime soon, I think the more that we speak out about it, the more the more that we make it an issue, the more that we force the issue, the more that they're going to have to deal with it on their end. And so keep fighting, keep speaking up, keep throwing down your opinion, knowing that it's not falling on deaf ears. Riot shields, voodoo economics, it's just business, cattle prods, and the IMF. I trust I can rely on your vote. When I go forwards, you go backwards. Somewhere we will meet. When I go forwards, you go backwards, and somewhere we will meet. So another example of a laconic presentation here, saying a lot with very little. I think it's one of the most powerful things about this particular song. And while it definitely focuses on a specific incident in Britain, this is a song that transcends just being about one time in one place. This is a song that really, I think, resonates with every person that's ever made an effort to go to a polling booth or checked a box, whether you mail in vote, do whatever you do. All of us, you read the song, you read these lyrics, and I don't think there's a single person that's going to disagree with what Tom is trying to say in the song. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that that's where we're at. But as I stated, keep fighting the good fight. Keep speaking up and keep demanding that there be change in our system. I think that a couple other things to note. This album, I feel there's a lot of solid bands that were able to take the influence of this song, of this record as a whole, and move forward into the 2000s. I think of bands like Porcupine Tree, Secret Machines. God, if you've never seen Secret Machines, they are amazing. Their drummer just plays the most massive bass drum that I've ever seen in my entire life, and the tone that it makes, the resonance is absolutely incredible off of that instrument. Block Party, think of an outfit like TV on the Radio. You have outfits that, Block Party in particular too, I feel like Silent Alarm is a record that it's a call to action. It's definitely full of songs that are begging the audience to wake up and to take a look, and making that I shouldn't say making it, but giving those artists the bravery, the constitution to go out there and not give a damn about commercial appeal, but to make art that speaks for them and that speaks to others, really is probably what this album and its impact is most well known for, and why it is still such an important piece of art. And so with that, I will wrap things up, let you guys do your thing, and check out Electioneering from Radiohead's 97 album, OK Computer. Guys, I am doing my best to get up in the morning to make this happen. You will have a daily deep cut every day, I promise you that, while we're getting these things started and getting into the new year. Once the channel goes into the members only mode, definitely will be showing up, making sure that my schedule is adjusted and that I'm here for you guys on time where I need to be. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your week. Stay tuned throughout the week for more content from me here at the Beat Sessions, and we will see you next time.